the 50 podcast.
50 podcast.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the 50 podcast. It's your host, Haley, and today we are here with Lisa. I'm so excited. I've been talking to her so much online, and it's so exciting to finally meet her. But Lisa is a police officer. She's a wife, a mom. She has a passion to bring people closer to God. Lisa is dedicated to changing the culture and empowering people and first responders alike in their faith. So, for our listeners who don't know who you are, give us a quick bio about yourself. And then after, we will peel back the layers as we dive deeper on the things we talked about above and more.
Okay. Like you said, Lisa, I'm 47. I became a police officer in 2007. Stayed with one department for 16 years and then just transferred. Backstory there. Recently got married. I was only been married a year. I have a 25-year-old. Yeah, we got married on Valentine's Day.
I love it.
I love it, though. I love it. 25-year-old daughter, biological, and then 2 bonus babies that are 10 and 6. My husband is actually 13 years younger than me. Call me.
Okay, queen. We love it.
And I met him when he worked on the TV show Chicago Fire, and they were filming in my town, and I was sitting in my squad car, and he had enough guts to approach me. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I love that. And it's funny that it's Chicago Fire. It's a show about first responders, and you're a first responder. What are the chances?
Right? Yeah. And I was like, he was like the one person that would actually talk to me. And he was such a sweetheart that day.
Such a sweetie. And I met him for 5 seconds. He was so nice.
Yes, I talked to him.
He's your tech guy.
He's my tech guy. He is the technical part. Does a lot of background acting. So, you could see him in the background of different, like The Chi, 61st Street. He was on Chicago Fire, Chicago PD.
That's amazing. How cool. So we're going to go over your foundation in law enforcement and then get to know, you and how you got here. So something I like to ask all my guests is just tell us about your family life and growing up. Who was Lisa as a kid?
So I'm the baby of 4 kids total. My dad was a fireman for 27 years. So go figure.
There we go.
I started as a dispatcher literally 4 days out of high school.
No way.
Yes. Nepotism was real back then. My dad, where he was a fireman at, I became a dispatcher at.
That's amazing.
And I did that for 12 years and then became a police officer. My middle sister, she's a 911 dispatcher. And my brother is a fireman and the deputy chief of his fire department.
Wow. So you have a really proud, first responder family.
Yes, very much. I have a cousin who's a deputy chief of a police department here in Illinois. And then one cousin is a paramedic. Uncles were firemen. My nephew's a fireman. My other nephew's going to be. It's just, we are the first responder family.
Wow. And because your dad was a fireman, I'm assuming you grew up, really wholesome, maybe middle class Illinois family.
Oh yeah. Very.
'Cause my dad was a cop. We had 4
Yeah.
kids, so I feel like probably very similar.
Very similar. It was nice vacations, but nothing too elaborate. Dad worked a ton. It was like Christmas a lot of times was at the firehouse dropping off his gift and saying hi for 10 minutes and leaving. Or it's like, hey, Christmas will be on the 27th this year. It's okay. We'll get through it.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I was just talking about that in my last podcast is how we do holidays in our own way as first responder families. Okay, we're going to celebrate on the 26th or the 27th. We don't get that luxury of having that regular life.
Oh, yeah. And even growing up, because we had my dad being a fireman was on red shift. His brother was on gold shift. So it was like, whoa, who's off? Who has a Kelly day? Who can, who can switch?
Who can take the day off?
just to be able to throw, a Christmas together.
Wow. Well, that probably helped you, and we'll talk about it more, but understand your future as a
Oh,
first responder too, since you grew up in that life. But let's talk about you being a police officer. How long has it been, and how old were you when you started?
I started when I was 29, right before my 30th birthday. So I wouldn't ever was like, I'm turning 30. Your 30s are the best time of your life. I promise you. I promise you it's the best time of your life. That's where everything happens. Started in 2007. It was actually the department I was dispatching for. I became a police officer. And I remember my chief at the time, um, he told me they were giving out applications and it was blue line didn't really exist. Uh, it was it was like word of mouth. And then he's like, "Hey, I have the results." And he's like, "There's like this many people didn't make it, and there's this many that did." He goes, "And you're not this many." I'm like, "Are you sure? Did you really look at the line?" He looks at me. He's like, "Would you stop asking questions?" He's like, "You made it." I'm like, "No." So I didn't believe him until I got my letter. And then I was like, "Hey, I made it." He's like, "I told you you did." Yeah, well, I didn't believe you. So um, so it was very cool. Like I knew my FTOs before I trained with them and everything else. And had a great career with them. Departments obviously changed, mayors changed, chiefs changed, morale changes. But I was able to be a field training officer, an evidence technician. I did a lot of DUIs in the beginning because it was interesting and I was got good at them. And then I got tired of going to court after midnight, and I was like,
Oh
well,
yeah, girl. Yeah.
do you really want to be torn apart on the stands after being up for 12 hours? No. So laid off of those for a little bit. Uh,
Yeah.
and then the Safety T Act came out, and it ended up in a really weird way, but not a horrible way, biting me in the butt and changing my direction. So
Mm.
I delayed going to an ambulance assist, literally a patient assist. Woman was not elderly. She had somebody home with her. She just couldn't get to the next part of the house. I was in the middle of doing paperwork. I get there. Of course, I figured the ambulance went already, so I kind of, I'll just finish my stuff. They didn't go for whatever reason. So then it comes down to it, and you know, okay, I messed up. I do my report, I do my to from. I forgot to turn on my body camera. They tried to ding me on that and told me they would decertify me if I did not leave. So I left
Oh my
to the promise of the department I'm at now, who has been holding me part time for 2 years almost. So talk about the faith in God, trusting Him through all this, and still trying to do this all over again. And being like, I was 4 years away from retirement, and now I'm looking at starting over. But I
God.
trust God.
Wow.
And now I'm
You
like,
know,
I can do it better. I can do it better than I've ever done it before.
it's crazy because for people who are listening who aren't first responders, or maybe people who are listening who are going to be first responders, the way the culture is now is they can ding you for the smallest of things.
Mhm.
And if you don't have something else, whether it's a passion, a hobby, God, another maybe source of income, whatever that may be, you're good. You're going to be looking at a trouble, because if you don't, like you said, you're leaning on God through these times. I'm in the process now too, and um, it's very hard to start over. It's very hard to get in trouble. It's hard to, you know, it's just really important to have something else, something else when you're in this job and you have a family and you have your husband. And thank God, because if you are all on your own and this job is your life, I hope it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Find something. I would stress education so hard.
Education.
I wish I would have taken those opportunities. And
Hmm.
especially if your department's going to pay for it, do it.
Yep.
Do it. don't sit on it. Just do it. Like,
Yeah,
you know, yeah.
absolutely. So when you chose to become a police officer, did you have any pushback from your friends and family, or were they really supportive? Because it seems like you have a big law enforcement family, but that could also be like, I've had, I kind of have the same, and I had people be like, do something else, you're not going to be a millionaire in this job. It's a thankless job. Can you do something else?
My dad jokes. He says I'm the stream of blue in the Red Sea. I'm like, "Mm,
There you go. Yeah.
at least I can see my way through it. I'm like, and I can solve my problems. And nobody secures a scene for me, Dad. Haha. You know, we,
Yeah. Yep.
we do it. My friends thought it was pretty cool. They were like, "Really, you're going to do that?" Like, we could always see that. And you know this, I'm sure. Anybody getting into this job, you can have 100 friends in the room. You will be the only one introduced by your career,
100%.
right? Like,
Wow. Yeah.
oh, here's the hairstylist. No, it's like this. Here, this is this person. By the way, they're a cop. Why? Why?
You are so right. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I did have a lot of that with my friends of like,
Yeah. No, it's good that you had support. And being a female in law enforcement is hard, and being in Illinois is hard too. There is a mixed review on support of police officers. What struggles have you faced personally being a female officer, a wife, a mom, all of that, and being a police officer at the same time?
a lot of struggle. Some of my own. I didn't keep up with the fitness the way I should have. So that would be my other advice. Don't ever let your fitness go. This is a job where you really need it. And you do get to the point of, I don't want to say like laziness, but I guess like complacency sometimes in the job.
100%.
Because
Yeah.
you're like, I've done this 100 times. I've done this, I can still do this. And then you get the, oh, well, she's talking to that one. They're car to car. Must be a relationship. So I can't just be friends with anybody, or, the minute I got with my husband, there was a lot of backlash because he wasn't a police officer and was like, well, we don't know him. Well, we don't trust him. Why? Because he's not one of us. When did that start? And I'm looking at but it's from the male officers. I'm like, and who of you guys were married to a cop? Nobody. So it's, yeah, you get a lot being a female. You can't be too friendly. You can't be too cute, too much makeup, not enough makeup. Don't have your hair done. Don't not have your hair done. Like,
You
what do you
can't really win.
yeah.
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 It's
Like,
really hard to win.
I got a spray tan one time. Why are you trying so hard? Trying hard for what?
Maybe
It's
I have
Chicago
something to
and
do on my day off.
it's Chicago weather and I work midnight. I don't see the sun.
Yes. Oh my God. Like, sorry, I want a little glow.
Yeah. Or, you didn't wear makeup today. I don't wear that much. Well, you didn't do this. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You know, let
God.
me call you guys before I check in.
Right.
Uh, on the street though, it's weird. The During calls, I'd almost rather face the 6'6" guy who's 250 pounds than the 90-pound, 4'11" female. Because they always want to fight. And I'm like, why?
Girl, I had one the other day. My last shift. She was like 4'11", 100 pounds. Was
Mhm.
trying to fight me, hated me just for being there. Just
Yeah.
just for standing there and trying to help her.
And it's like, what? Why? I will say my worst fight ever, and I've dealt with a couple, was a 5'2" female stripper. Those women are tough. Those women are tough.
You're
Where I was
hilarious.
like, I couldn't get her for nothing. And this was in my rookie years. I was still in my prime, like horribly. And even like
Hey, they're
three
strong.
guys were trying to fight her. I'm like, what? yeah, because she goes to work and works out for 8 hours a day while she's working at
Right.
home.
Yeah, girl. Do your did your kids have any aspirations to be first responders?
No, they're smart.
Yeah,
No, my daughter says she's like, for most of her life, I was a single parent. It wasn't until
right.
she became an adult that I got remarried, and I had already divorced her dad before becoming a police officer. So she got to see like "Hey, I'm working midnights, I'm working doubles,
Wow, yeah.
do this," and she's like, "I don't want that life." I said, "Okay, I'm okay with it."
Yeah. She chose to have a normal life.
Yes. Yeah,
I
she is a
respect
very
that.
normal life.
How was it like being a single mom and being a police officer and working those hard hours?
I definitely chose midnights because of that, so that I could be there for 'cause I coached her cheerleading team. So and then I could do field trips. So for 16 years, I joke around, I didn't sleep much, but I really didn't. You sacrifice sleep because they're only that age for so long. The career will, for the most part, always be there, but they need you in those moments. So it's like, yeah, you trade shifts, you do doubles, you do what you have to do to be there. And, I am so, so blessed that my dad lives so close to me. He doesn't anymore. He's in Florida. God bless him. Um,
God bless.
retired to Florida. But at that time we lived 10 minutes from each other. So I'd drop her off and go to work. Or, I'd be like, hey, I have court and it's summer vacation. She did come to court a couple times with me though, because there was nobody to watch her, and I was like, "Okay, well, just sit up here in the jury box and enjoy yourself," or go sit in the back room and, thank God our court did not mind us, every once in a while
I mean,
having
what
them.
else can you do? Like you said, there's so many single parents and even dual home parents, honestly, in law enforcement. I don't have any kids myself, and I respect the hell out of you guys. Parents in this job, it is and like you said, you choose midnights. I work with so many people who choose midnights to be present in their kids' lives, and I wonder when I'm on midnights and I don't have kids. I barely sleep. When do you guys sleep? How do you do it? And all the sacrifices you make for your children. It is such a testament and so amazing. I don't know how you do it, but I respect the hell out of you guys.
Lots of coffee, for
Yeah.
sure. But, yeah, I would sleep mostly when she was at school. So
Yeah.
if I didn't have court, which I think I was only usually 2 or 3 times a month, I'd come home at 7 AM, sometimes catch a nap, until she had to get up, but drop her off back then at 9, 8:30, 9 o'clock, sleep until 2, and then, you know, kinda picking her up almost in my pajamas, and, she was good, though. I will say my daughter, oh, God bless me with, like, an amazing daughter, because there were so many times that she came home from school and would, like, do her homework, and I'd be like, "Alright, mom's gonna take a nap on the couch while you do your homework and watch a little TV."
Yes.
And so we have to go to ice skating, to cheerleading, to whatever we were doing at that moment. So,
I feel like kids in law enforcement families do really grow up pretty independent and they grow up to be really strong individuals because they watch their parent be so strong and juggle and balance so many things at once. And a lot of times they are kind of on their own and they know that their parents are making these sacrifices for them. It's like,
yeah.
what do we do? What are we doing? We're trying to make a living. We're not millionaires, We're working these midnight shifts for an okay amount of money, but we're not
No,
in this for the money.
exactly, and when I got hired originally in 2007, we were so short-handed
Oh
that
yeah.
walk in at 11 o'clock at night for roll call, and the sergeant from 3 to 11 will look at you and say, "By the way, tomorrow I'll see you at 7 p.m. because 'cause you're being ordered in." And I was like,
Oh my God. Yep.
"Okay."
Yep.
You know? And we worked a ton of overtime, so she kinda got used to me always being gone, and she
Yeah.
was now her being an adult, she looks back, she's like, "You were always at work," she goes, "but somehow you were always there." She
Oh.
things for me. She's like, I always saw you. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you did. I'm like, because even though, I split custody with my ex-husband at the time, like I said, I helped coach her cheerleading. So that was 4 days a week, plus
Yeah,
games on weekends. And because it was park district cheerleading. So it was like I was always there. You
always there.
need a chaperone. Mom's got you. No sleep, let's go. But
You're amazing. You're amazing. And all the first responder moms, like, God bless, because God willing, maybe I'll be one day too. And I'm gonna need some advice because, girl, I don't know how you guys do it. And I'm not getting any younger either.
I don't know how the ones that have babies Waller cop and then return, like, God bless you all. Mine was at least 7 years old when I went in.
Yes, they go on maternity leave for like 3 months at most, and
Yes.
they're back with the stuff on their waist, on their stomach. I'm like,
Mhm.
God bless.
Yeah.
So, do you have any advice for female officers or maybe moms um, who are beginning this career?
Yes. Number one, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it because you can't. Do not listen to the naysayers. They, I believe, just like God will send you people, I believe the enemy will also send you people. And sometimes in the realm of somebody where they're trying to stop you from your purpose. Do not listen to them. Do you stay true to yourself? And my number one advice, and sadly talking from personal experience, don't date inside the job. Don't date your own department if you can avoid it, unless you work for a super large department. But stay away from your coworkers. Stay away from your coworkers.
Honestly, phenomenal advice. And I was told that advice when I was brand new and I never listened,
Yeah.
because as a female, you're a small fish in a big pond and
Mhm.
you're going to get that attention and you got to be strong
Yeah.
because it's what, 20 to 1, probably 20
Oh,
guys to one girl
easy.
at
Very easy.
least, maybe more. But yes, couldn't agree with you more. Be strong in that. Do not do it. Listen
Right.
to us. Don't do it.
Right. If you work for a big city, they're in another district. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
If you're a
Yeah.
single town. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Just
you
say no.
won't be able to avoid them if you
Nope.
break up.
Just say no.
So you are passionate about God and your faith. I'm in a faith-based first responder group with you. Can you tell us why God and your faith is so important to you as a first responder or just as a person?
I did come later in life to God the way I am now. I always knew He was there, but I didn't worship Him. I didn't praise Him enough, and I never submitted to Him fully. Once you do, it's weird. There's a sense of peace you cannot explain. Like you were literally in the worst rainstorm, and you're like, but God, but God's got me. But there's more, and I've seen Him deliver me from the pit of what I felt was my own personal hell of times of going through bad choices, bad things, you know, decisions that were made for me that I was like, I that wasn't what I wanted. And then it was like, hold on, I have something for you though. And then when you see him deliver, you're like, oh, if I would have just held on a little longer, or if I would have trusted you more. And he always does deliver. Following God is never going to be easy. Not, I mean, in a sense, you will see some of the toughest storms. And something I heard one time that kind of made sense to me, they say somebody's not going to break into an empty home. So therefore, the devil's not going to attack somebody who's not has a God-driven purpose. He's going to attack the ones that God has the most purpose for. And it's like you have to stay in faith to battle this huge war that's going to be against you, but the outcome's going to be worth it.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
I also got into following God more later in my life and very recently. I've always, like you too, I've always believed. I did my got confirmed. I
Yeah.
did all the Sunday school when I was a kid and stuff, but I mean, high school, please, if you are going to get me to church, please, God, you never. College, no way. Like,
Yep.
no. And then after college, I was bartending. I was working my ass off every day. There was no way. I couldn't make time for to brush my hair, let alone, So now that I'm more at peace and steady with my life, I've done the same thing, and like I can definitely say that he does deliver. And I've been at the pits of hell, same thing as you, and God, I'm like he delivers.
Yeah.
Really, truly. So you oh, before I get into that,
Yep.
does God do you feel like God helps you be a better police officer?
Yes. 100%. I've noticed since having my relationship with him, I don't get so angry about things. And that's hard because people push your buttons. They push them hard. But you more see the people for who they are. Part of, you know, me having my faith, I found it well, I lead small groups at church, but I also go to the jail in my county and do like a ministry with the incarcerated. And it's weird. It's like, yeah, I might have been somebody who put you here. But I'm trying to, I almost want to put the jail out of business, no crime, kind of thing. So it's like, how do I stop somebody? And one of the nicest guys I talked to in there knows so much about the Bible. Of course, curiosity. Let's look what he's in for. And he's in for murder. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow, if I would have met him on the street, I would have never have guessed that was like even meeting him, I'm like, ah, he's probably in here for dealing drugs. No, he's here for shooting somebody in the face. But I'm
Wow.
like, one day I will have a conversation of what would have stopped you from making that call? What would have taken you out of that moment? And I think that's what I'm trying to do on the street of, we catch them in the small crime. How do we stop the process? How do we stop them from going further? Where can I change their life at? Where can I plant the seed for them to find God? Because you will, the closer you grow to God, you will sin less because it literally feels horrible inside your body.
Yes. Wow. So like I didn't even think about it that way. You being closer to God could help the people that we have to deal with on the street. You might be able to plant the seed in them, which in turn could help them not commit a major crime or more crimes
Yeah,
in their life, which in turn makes your community safer as a whole.
absolutely.
Because a lot of criminals find God when they're in jail,
Hmm.
and which is great. But if they could find it before, that would be a lot better.
Absolutely. Like we were just a couple weeks ago, got into a chase.
Uh-huh.
Yes, my department still lets me chase. Thank you, Jesus.
Woo!
Oh yeah, we can chase to Indiana if we want to. It's great. But we did we got in chase, and it was from where I'm at all the way into the city, like near Martin Luther King Drive and 31st. And it's 17-year-old kids that stole a car. And there's two females in there. And I'm like, what do you girls do with your life? And the one has just got the nastiest attitude. And I'm talking to her finally, and I'm like, why are you this way? What happened? And then through conversation, investigative conversation, I'm like, I found out her mom passed away. I'm like,
Right,
that's why. That I
right,
you can see now instead of seeing the ignorant teen, you see the hurtful teen. And I was like, she had had her nails done and her makeup and stuff. And I said, wow, you did that yourself. She goes, yeah. And she had the answer. I go, you're talented. Don't let anybody take that away from you. I said, live that for your life. I said, because you were so talented. She goes, I am. And it was like the change. You saw that.
oh wow, and just that hearing that from you could change everything. I mean,
Yeah.
something so small.
Because you could be the strong cop, the I don't care, here's your ticket, call your parents. Or you can take the opportunity to hear them and say, okay, how can I help you realize that this is not the life you want? And kind of come at them as a mother instead of as a police officer.
100%. I like to think that I operate that way too. Try to get to like the root causes level with somebody, just how did you get here? And genuinely because I'm curious a lot of the times too.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that a lot of us become cops because we are curious. How
very
did you get here? What landed you here? And if we could help plant that seed or just make their day on their worst day, I'm sure you made that girl's day. Like just even that small little compliment in the chaos
yeah. And we meet people only usually at their worst time,
at
their
their
worst day.
worst.
We
Yep.
don't see them at their best. So we're not always gonna get their best. They're in the chaos. You know, you have the domestic, and yes, you've been there 15 times. So what's the root of the problem? Instead of just, okay, I'm tired of coming here. If I come back, I'm gonna lock one of you up, the typical speech.
Yes. Yes.
Why do we keep coming back? What haven't you guys gotten through yet that makes you, you know, toxic with each other? And is
Mhm.
it this couple needs to separate for days, or just needs somebody to hear them because they're not hearing each other? And I've had those conversations with people.
And that's where like the power of like community policing and just
Mhm.
empathetic officers really come into play because we could change the trajectory of, someone's life. And then also like not why do we need to keep wasting resources on something that can be fixed if we just get them the right help instead of
Exactly.
calling 911 like, maybe you guys need counseling or something like that or therapy. So sounds so simple, but it's true.
It is. And I have prayed over people on calls. I've gotten my squad car and prayed for them. And if somebody's not comfortable praying over somebody in person, that's great. Go in your squad car, extend your hand to their house, and pray to God to heal what's going inside of there. It's that simple. And it's like, I think people don't realize if you put God in the situation a lot more, He's going to do a lot more and things that we can't do ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. So you teach Bible study at the prison.
We do.
Can you tell us about that? And like, how did you get this position? Like, how did you end?
So my crazy butt, the church I go to, it's a very large church. It's kind of a mega church. We have 6 locations, but it doesn't feel like a mega church. We can fit 5,000. So, but you don't have that like, oh, I feel like I don't belong. Everybody kind of feels like a family. And I kept seeing this same small group or the same volunteer, you know, passion and justice, compassion and justice. And then there was a movie out with Joey Lawrence. I forget the name of it, but it's about a guy who was incarcerated and then goes back in to help incarcerated people not, you know, be reincarcerated. And it was a true story how he found God inside the prison. So I was like, all right, one day, and I was sitting with my daughter. Just, I want to do it. I keep hearing God calling me to it. So her, good kid that she is, gets on her phone and she goes, I just signed you up. I'm like, what? She was like, I just signed you up. I'm like, oh, okay. So my first step was Bible study with people who've been released from prison but are too afraid to come to church. And it was good. And the guy who led it had also been incarcerated. And he said to me, this is not where God has you. You have a bigger purpose.
Wow.
Okay. And then the person who ran the whole program connected me to the people that go inside. And they're like, it's a one day pass to see if you like it, but you have to do a background check. And I go, oh, I should tell you guys I'm a cop. And
Oh
they're
my
like,
God.
I'm sorry, what? I'm like, yeah, I'll pass that background check with no problem. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they're like, as we're walking, like, do you want us to tell them? I'm like, no, 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 no. We don't say nothing inside. I'm just me. So now I'm like, well, this is the prison where people I have arrested would be. So I have to make sure I don't see anybody I sent here. And thank God, a lot of us look way different with our hair down and not,
Oh yeah.
not in uniform. We can kind of disguise it. So I went in, and the very first day, it's like you're on the tier and you're walking up and you're just like, "Oh, I'm really doing this. I'm really doing this." And it was nice. It wasn't bad. And I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "What do you think?" And I go, "I want to come back." And so now I've been there for probably about almost 6 months. Since I've been there, two people have been released. And I make them promise that they can't come back to jail. And they're like, and
Do they
the
know
one,
you're a cop yet?
no, I think one of them's starting to figure it out because they'll talk about their court dates. I'm like, let me pray for you. And they're like, yeah, my lawyer's like, I'm like, oh, they're waiting for discovery. And I'm like, you just get
You're like,
involved. And you're like, I go, I studied law for a little bit.
what? I feel like they would really respect the fact that you're a police officer and that you're doing both. Like I mean, you're helping them and maybe that would show them that, the people that put them away aren't bad people.
Yeah. And I said, one day it's gonna come out. And I'm just gonna tell them, like, hey guys, guess what?
They're
You've
going to be
been
like, what?
Yeah, you've been relying and conversating with a cop for so many times, and, I'm the one praying for you the most, but like you said, it's unfortunately, the news displays us in 2 ways, really bad or really, really good. If you
Yeah.
paid for somebody to go to college for a year, they're gonna showcase you there. But also, if you get involved in a shooting and it's a bad shoot, they're gonna showcase you there. They're not gonna
Yes.
say, "Hey, look at this officer who day in and day out just serves their community." It's like you either gotta be really great or really bad. And it's how do we tell the rest of the public, "Hey, that's like 5% of us. The rest of us, we're just normal. We're just
Some
doing
of
it."
us are just serving our community, going call to call, taking care of our kids, and that's it, going to work, helping, and coming home and helping more,
Yeah,
and just generally good people just doing our job like everybody else.
yeah, like, we're pretty much the same as a lot of people, except what our job entails us to do and how meet more people.
Yeah. And how does it make you feel that you're helping the other side? Is it really rewarding for you?
It really is. Like,
I can
'cause
see it in your face, like your smile.
it's weird. It's like you're meeting these people and you're like, I like so many of them, and I can't ask them what they did. Of course, like I said, Google's great. You know, everything through Google. I don't use any police, like,
No. Yeah, you
no,
can find it right on
yeah.
Google.
Google is just fine for me. But it's like sometimes I want to be like, okay, what the day this happened, what would have stopped this? What could have happened in your life differently that would have stopped you from coming here? And some of them, we've kind of had similar conversations. A lot of them are like, hey, my family was in gangs, so of course I was a gang member and I got caught up, or, oh, poverty. And I found out selling drugs made me quick, easy money until I landed here. And it's like, what
Yep.
happens when I landed here? Oh, I lost my temper. Yeah. It's there's some others is like, you know, the dispute happens in 1 minute, the anger happens the next minute, the incident happens the next minute, and the rest of your life you're paying for it. It's like, take those minutes to walk away. Take
Yeah.
those minutes to stop.
Seconds even like can change the trajectory of your entire life. And putting faith into their life can really change that.
Yeah.
And the work you're doing is going to help you on the other side at your job.
But yeah, it does. It's just like, and then now it's easier to talk to somebody about, okay, why are you doing
Both,
this? Yeah.
right? Because you can see the other side now.
Yeah. Good.
And we say that we're like, once you go to jail, it's on your records, this and that. But
Mhm.
now you're like, I have talked to people in jail. I spend time with people in jail, and they wish they didn't do that, or they're dying to start over, or they would go back in time and change everything. And like now you can have that testimony to the people that you meet in these horrible times of their lives.
Yeah, and, like, a lot of the stuff, you know, and I'm not God forgives, obviously, the system works a little differently. I'm not saying, "Oh, you went and did your time, let's give you everything back like it never happened." There's still punishment, but, finding out a lot of when they come out, how the world still works against them. We have one guy, he's in electronic monitoring, he pretty much did his time. He has a he has a job, he is, making good money. He cannot lease an apartment because he's not allowed to be on a lease because he's on electronic monitoring. So to me, okay, I look at it both ways. You're right. You may not want that in, your apartment complex with the rest of your residents who want to feel safe. At the same time, for the ones that are reformed, what are we saying to him? Now I want you to go back to doing what you were doing because I don't have a house for you. I don't have a place for you to live.
Right. Right.
It's like
Wow.
there needs to be balance there too. And I tell the guys that were getting out or, are looking to get out. I said the devil is going to hit you 10 times harder on the outside. Be prepared to hear no for a lot of this. You have to stay in your faith.
It's so much easier to do something quick fix to get you what you need, so much harder to work harder.
Hmm.
Um, and they're used to that quick fix, a lot of them, or going,
Yeah.
the the shady route or whatever. So yeah, no, the devil is gonna come for them because it wants them to go right back to their old habits.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, what advice could you give to somebody, anybody, who wants to connect with God but doesn't know where to start?
I'm going to say the Bible study that I use because I think through many times of me trying to read the Bible and I didn't understand it. This woman is amazing. She does a podcast and she's on YouTube with her podcast. And her name is Kanoe Gibson, Kanoe Gibson. It's Heart Dive 360. You can work at your own pace, and she really explains the Bible in very thorough details. Some of the stuff I didn't even know. And whatever you do, do not, for your beginning time, get a King James version or a New King James version unless you speak Latin, because you won't understand it.
No, for real. You're gonna be like, wait a minute. I'm gonna go back to watching trash TV. I can't read
Exactly.
this.
Exactly. Like this is too much. I do the NLT version and an NIV. I actually have three Bibles. Because I journal in my, but NLT, NIV version, both a lot simpler, more plain English. Um, Stay away from a lot of the YouTube pastors, a lot of false prophets. And if you don't know, check them against your Bible. You will see. When you really connect to God, you'll start seeing them when they're preaching and they're giving false preaching.
Ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to ask you something when we're done
Yeah,
because there's uh
there's
what
a
do you
lot of
hope?
them out there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to send you one guy and you tell me. What do you hope that your children have learned from you just in life and being this mom who's a first responder and now you're finding God and now you're helping people in jail. What do you hope your kids would say when they talk about their mom?
That they got the work ethic from me, 100%. They stayed strong because I stayed strong. And that, like, mom was a hard worker and she talks about God. And because of her, we stayed away from sin. Like, my 10-year-old was at the basketball court with his dad, my husband, and some girl came up and asked for his phone number. And he goes, No. My husband's like, Why didn't you give her your phone number? He's like, Mom would not approve of her. She was, she was too, too flaunty. He goes, "And mom would have cracked me." Yes, I would have. Yes, I would have. And
And
I was
dad's
like,
like, why didn't you give her your number? Come
yeah,
on.
like she was cute. Nope.
I
Now
love it.
my son's like, "No." I'm like, "Thank you. Just stay with God,
Good
honey."
boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even even my daughter, she her faith is top tier. I mean, like, you know, a
Wow.
true, like, does not, at 25, she does not drink, she does not cuss.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And is like not in like the rush for a relationship. She's like, when God brings them, I'll know.
I
And I'm like,
love it. She's
why wasn't I
amazing.
that?
Oh, girl. Yeah, no, I missed that boat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yes,
I
to the
missed that
young
boat.
ones, be different. Be with God, but be different. It will be worth the wait.
And how was it being a stepmom?
Oh, I love it. Oh, my kids are awesome. My kids are so awesome.
Oh, that's
They're
so
just
amazing.
the coolest kids. And like you said, you saw my husband for about 5 seconds.
Yes, so
Um,
kind.
I'm in a biracial marriage, so my children are black, and like, no, they're not mixed. They're 100% black, and they are the awesomest little kids. And it's so funny because I'll be like, they're like, "Mom," and I'm like, "Yeah, baby," and people look like, "How is that your mom?" And they're like, "That's my mom."
I love it. I love it.
They're just
Wow.
awesome. Then they'll come to me.
It's rewarding, and you get to be another resource for them, another role model for them, and they're so lucky to have you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what goals do you have for the future, and what could we expect from you?
Um, get back to full-time police work. That is number one. I'm going back for my education.
Yay!
And that became because of watching your videos too. When you talk about your degrees, I was like, she's so right. Like,
I'm ready for another one. I'm talking like a baby. I'm ready to go have another one.
yes, no, seriously. And when you said your department's going to pay for it, I was like, oh my God, why would you not take advantage of that? So yeah, thank you. You inspired me. And hopefully through, I gotta give a shout out to my girl. Through your new business line, I will be looking snatched in the next 6 months to a year.
Yes,
'Cause
girl.
yes,
Me
we're
too.
getting we're getting on the new stuff.
Yes, because we need all the energy that we can get. Are you on nights at your
Yes.
new place?
Well,
Okay.
so I do mostly nights, 12 hours.
Okay.
Um, full time, I'm working in security, uh, doing private security, which is technically Monday through Friday, 6 to 2.
Okay.
But weekends are available. And so why wouldn't I work 12 hours on Saturday after working, a 16 on Friday between this and the police job? And then let's go on Sunday night for another 16 hours. So I
Oh,
literally
girl,
60 to 70 hours a week.
you just won't stop.
I don't stop. And
Nope.
it's like, I think I'm still in my 20s somehow.
Girl, you look like it, baby. Like we don't stop. So many of us, we're just such hard workers. I wish the public knew how much we work and how much overtime we work, how much details we pick up. I mean, we are go, 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 go. We do not let anything stop us.
Yeah. Like we hustle. We're our own entrepreneurs
We
within
really
cyber.
are. We truly are. Is there any final takeaways you can give to our listeners, whether it's faith, family, first responders? Give us a final little testament, and then yeah, give us something. Give us the Lisa
The least advice.
advice. Yes, because I love if you're listening right now and you're not in a group, we're in this like first responder faith-based group. Message me and I'll put you in there. But Lisa's always giving us like
Yeah.
her little advice, and I love it. So if you
Which
can
is
give us
funny
something.
about that group, are the person, AJ, who
Yes,
started it.
AJ.
I
She was
had
on the pod.
I love her. I
Oh
love her.
my
And
God,
it
I
was
love her.
funny because I was following her and then I saw she was on your pod and I was like, oh, awesome. Like my two sisters from
And we're all
opposite
in
ends.
Illinois.
Yeah, in Illinois. I was like, this is great. I actually went to her because through my church, I do a first responder peer support group as a small group.
I love it.
Um, and I thought, of course, it was going to take off. I had two members. And I was like, oh, no. And I'm like, okay, devil, I see you. I see you stopping this. You're not going to
Mhm.
stop it. So now I'm doing it again. I'm going to relaunch it for another 10 weeks. I would say definitely if you're not in a church, find one online if you have to. I get, you know, going may be hard, schedule, fear, whatever. Go. I will tell you, my church is always on YouTube. It is Willow Creek. I do the South Barrington location, but Willow Creek Community Church on YouTube. Watch any of their sermons. Try to get into a small group. Surround yourself with Christian friends. Find God. Rely on Him more than anything. Especially a lot of people who don't read the Bible don't know we are truly like Revelations. Let's check. Are we on chapter 4 yet? Because everything that is happening is leading up to the second coming of Jesus, and that is going to be the final yes or no. Either you're with them or you're not, and there is no more after that. So I will say faith is something nobody can take away from us. So have strong faith, stay true to yourself. Don't let anybody tell you there's something you can't do. You can do it. If they're telling you you can't, it's because they know you can and they're afraid to see you succeed because they know they can't do it themselves. It's very hard to find those hype people that like, yes, I want it for you. I'm in the middle of my storm and I still want to see your sunshine, your rainbows.
Oh, yes.
Most people only want to see it when they're looking at their own pot of gold. Don't let them take yours from you. Just go. If you're going to be a police officer, do it. Do it. Give it your all. Come home safely every night. Remember your training. Take as much training as you possibly can. You have to pay for it yourself. Do it. Do not put a price on your life. Get the good equipment. Spend the money. Do the training. Keep training. Don't one day class and oh, I forgot about it the next week. Keep going. Research if it's an active class, you're in takedowns, practice your takedowns. Get in jujitsu, get into a fighting class. If yours is hey, I'm going to study the law, keep studying, keep going. Just don't ever give up.
I love that. I love the Lisa advice. And if you're listening and you want to, get more into your faith or you haven't started, like truly, I'm new to it too. So don't feel like you're behind or scared, or sometimes you might feel uncomfortable or maybe even embarrassed. Like it's okay. And I know Lisa would totally talk to you if you sent her a message.
Yes, yeah.
Um, she would help you maybe find like a church that's good for you, or maybe a YouTube that you could start watching. So where could they find you if they want to give you a follow or message you?
Find me best way is on TikTok. I'm at LAW underscore 137. And then my public Instagram is, and there's not much on there yet, so it's kind of new. It's under Reality and Ridiculous Productions, which is my husband and I's production company that we're starting.
Amazing. Oh, I can't wait to see what you guys start.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and you'll see us on our own podcast hopefully soon. It is
yay.
our truth in black and white.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So
I'll be a guest anytime if you need me.
awesome. Oh, definitely. Definitely. You're coming on my podcast too.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It was so nice to finally see your face.
Same.
And I hope to talk to you soon. I do want to do a podcast in the future with a few of us girls, and talk together just about life and faith and females and first responders. So we'll be in touch for that. But until then, you guys be safe. And thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us today.
Thank you. Stay safe.